Hello Team Selma, this is Brett Larkin, your HR Director, with one update related to a new policy that our school board voted on this Tuesday. You may remember a while back we sent out a survey related to a social media policy that the policy committee was drafting. Well, we have finally gotten that policy through the board and it has been approved, but I want to thank all of our Team Selma members for your input. We really did appreciate your input, and we did take it into consideration when drafting the final policy. I also want to thank the policy committee. We had representation from each of our sites, each campus, and they really worked hard. We wanted to get a policy in place that would be fair to all of our employees, but will also put some very needed parameters in place as it relates to social media. Our superintendent, Dr. Williams, will be sending this new policy out in its entirety to all employees. So be on the lookout for that email. But this video will be I'm going to lift some things out of the policy that I want to make sure that all of our employees are aware of. As we are now in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, there are times where we will use social media, sometimes in a professional sense and sometimes in a personal sense. But our policy that we have does touch both the professional realm and the personal realm. You will see when you get the policy that it has, the first section is termed personal responsibilities. And just in this section, we want our employees to be mindful that whatever is published and what's posted on social media is in the public domain. And that is a representation of your professionalism, regardless of what position you hold with Selma City Schools. Being an employee of the public school system, we are upheld to a higher standard than most other entities, and that does reach over to the social media realm. So we have to realize that the professionalism that we expect within our buildings and working with our scholars, that does transcend to the social media. Another thing that will come out in that section is we're asking that employees refrain from posting and publishing photos or videos of fellow employees without their permission. That also extends to our scholars as well. Each school has a publicity option form. That publicity option form must be signed for every scholar that their likeness is used in any social media platform, whether it be videos, pictures, through Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is. That must be in place for each scholar that is placed on social media. We're also asking that each teacher, as it relates to school and school activities, each teacher establish a teacher page. We're asking that you refrain from putting school activities that happen at school on your personal Facebook, Twitter, whatever it may be. We're asking that you utilize an official school page. And that school page needs to be accessible to your school administrator and our community engagement specialist, Ms. Courtney Washington. The next part of the policy deals with personal use of social networking, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'm just going to read this first statement verbatim from the policy. Comments made by employees on social media related to Selma City Schools, its employees, students, and events related to Selma City Schools should always meet the highest standards of professional discretion. And as I said earlier, what we do on our online platforms or social media, it must be a good representation of our professional expectations for the Selma City School system. Again, you will be asked to anything that is put on related to classroom information that needs to be pushed out to students or parents. We're asking that employees not use their personal social media outlets for that. We're asking that you please utilize a teacher page, and again, it needs to be accessible to your school administrator, as well as it needs to be made available to our community engagement specialist, Ms. Washington. And the last section of this policy talks about staff-student relations. And again, I'm going to read a line verbatim from this policy as well, from this part of the policy. Employees are prohibited from establishing personal relationships with students that are unprofessional and thereby inappropriate. And the policy gives some examples, although not an exhaustive list, but a list of some examples of what that could be. One of which would be a caution of accepting friend requests of students currently enrolled in one of our schools. But again, as you get the policy, we ask that you read it in its entirety. It is brand new. With anything that is new, we expect questions or concerns. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email me at aubrey.larkin@selmacityschools.org, and I'll be glad to answer any of your questions or concerns. Thank you for your time, Team Selma, and continue to stay safe and stay connected. Thank you.